Testing. Testing. So here's something about me.
Yeah.
I'm like super deaf.
Really?
I've got to turn my TV like all the way up.
Yeah.
And put on subtitles.
Oh, so you do the same thing, right?
I can't understand anything.
Alright, so we should be live. Here in about 30 minutes, we're going to do a quick intermission. I got some food coming. But we'll go ahead and start the first aircraft here. I think we'll start with oldest first. Been a while since I played in it. Let's go for a quick flight. So I think we'll go over the different weapon systems and what their purposes are. Hydras are your high explosive anti-tank, light armor vehicle, and unarmored vehicles and infantry. Tanks are not all that effective, but like small trucks and stuff, they can do a lot of damage. Mark 82 500-pound bomb. It's mostly used for soft, hard targets. Not very good for bunkers, stuff like that. You want to use them against tanks, anti-air, whatever you can get a good beat on. This one is unguided, so last resort. These ones kind of confuse people. The air high drag just means it has a parachute that deploys out the back end of it, so it drops top down. This is for like radar evasion. If you know where an enemy radar is, you can come in right at sea level, avoid it, and then like pop over a ridge, get your beat on it, drop, and not worry about it blowing up and hurting you. I'm gonna turn this music down real quick. SD bombs, GBU-39 it's a GPS guided small diameter bomblet. It's used for very precise strikes. They do have winglets that pop out, so you can drop them from quite a ways away as long as you got appropriate altitude for it to glide to its target. These are good if you have predetermined targets, and I'll show you guys how to set predetermined targets before you go into a combat area, and how to do them on the fly. Cluster bomb unit. It's they're just used pretty much for infantry and armor. It says these ones are shaped armor penetrators, so these probably have little parachutes on them, so they drop top down, because the tank's armor is the weakest on the top and at 90-degree angles. AGM 114, I'm assuming this is like the Hellfire. Standard Hellfire. You lock onto it with your electro-optical sensor, and it just guides it right into the target. You do have to continuously keep your sensor on the target. They do not lock on. It's a wire-guided missile. In theory, I don't know how he has them set up. I don't see a wire unit anywhere. AGM 65. I haven't used this one yet, so we might have to play with this one. I'm assuming you fly it in using your electro-optical sensor, and then it deploys and sees its own targets. I don't know how that's interesting. AIM-9 Sidewinder, it's a little heat seeker, pretty standard. Ayers T, it's kind of like an AIM-9 modified with thrust vectoring, improved maneuverability and countermeasure system. Sidearm, it's like mid-range anti-radiation, which means it uses the enemy's radar against it. So if you're transmitting your radar emissions, it seeks onto those. You have to deploy chaff in order to beat it. Back to the hydras. So we're going to load up with small diameter bomblets on my outers. So I could show you guys how to pre-plan targets. And then on the inner, as a test, we'll try to load up these cagums. Which, if we don't have enemies, I don't know exactly how to test this. On the nose, you have Galway Avenger, same gun that's on the Warthog, or you can choose a T30, which is a 30mm grenade launcher, single barrel. This is pretty much mimicking the same, well, it is the same thing that's on the Apache helicopter. This would be good. T30. So when you're taking off, especially if you're doing VTOL, you want to make sure that thrust TWR, thrust weight ratio, is greater than 1. 1.21 pretty much means if we go full power on our vertical thruster, we're barely going to ascend. It's going to struggle. So keep that in mind. You can adjust your fuel down here. Looks like minimum fuel we're only going to get about 150, so I'm fine with like 130. Time real quick. Alright, so cockpit looks pretty confusing when you first get in it. It's not. Don't be too confused by it. You go master your main battery. You want it on. And let your sensors do their little startup. Next up is APU. Turn the audio on, so I got a little bit of feedback here. Engine 1. And pretty much for the APU, you're looking, make sure that your RPM goes up into the green. Make sure your engine 1 RPM's in the green. Once it settles down to the bottom, just on top of the yellow, go ahead and start your second engine. It's going to start spooling up. Down here, your multifunction displays are right here, bottom left. Go ahead and click and rotate those. Turn your screens on. Equipment, this shows you everything that's armed on your aircraft at this time. Options lets you change your altitude units from feet to meters, distance to nautical miles, kilometers, and then speed to knots. I'm an American aviator, so I do most of my stuff in feet, nautical miles, and knots, just because it's familiar for me. Comms, you got your wingman communications. We have none that I'm aware of. Air traffic controller, this is where you're going to go get your takeoff and landing permissions. We'll contact them here in a bit. Navigation is pretty important. Allows you to have a nice map of what's going on and allows you to do your pre-planned targeting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. SOI is sensor of input or interest. Click that, you'll see a green box show up. That means you now control the sensor. Grab your joystick and use your thumb pads if you're on a Vive. I don't know what it is for the other VR platforms out there. Assume it's probably pretty close. You can move your cursor around. And zoom out. I think we'll do our targets over in this town over here. So we're wanting to bomb these probably parks, I'm assuming, by the green vegetation here. So you put your cursor in the middle, and you'll do GPS S, which is send. You go over to your GPS tab down here, you'll see you got group 1, map 0, and then your lat one for that location. We'll drop one over here. I think we have 6 of those bombs on board. Alright, so now we have 6 pre-planned targets. Let's go ahead and do another group. This is going to be our navigation. I want to do a flyby of the carrier out here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Fly around this island. Come out here ways. We'll line up for our target. And this one will just indicate that's the target area there. Alright, so now we're on group 2, map 6. So this is now a navigation route for us. We'll go to this point. Once we get there, just down arrow. You'll nav to the next one, click waypoint. See, you're getting a navigation line. So that's how you set up your pre-planned targets and your maps. Pretty useful sensor right here. Go home. Camera, this is your external views. I never use them. Targeting pod. Alright, so up here, HMCS is helmet mounted cockpit system. And that's your heads-up display for your helmet. HUD power, you want to turn that on. See, we now have our navigation markers going to our waypoint 2 out here. Let's go ahead and change that. We'll go back to waypoint 1. In order to actually view your targeting pod, you need to take your hand, go by your left ear, you'll feel your controller vibrate, click, see the visor come down. Now when you look away from your main heads-up display, you'll see a smaller heads-up display that gives you your direction you're looking, your altitude, your velocity, and what weapon system you have selected. Pretty useful. These buttons here, turn on your power for your radar warning system and your fuel. You got your endurance time here, which engine's idle, it's going to be a ridiculous number. It's like 6 hours, 17 minutes, and 0 nautical mile range. As you go up in the air, faster you go, engine settings, whatever, you'll have a rough estimate of how long of a flight time you have. Back over here to the targeting pod. If you click head and HMD, we got to turn power on, sorry. Click the power button on, you'll see a display pop up, HMD and head. You now have a box in your view. If you grab your controller and you press up on the thumb pad, you can zoom in and interrogate items that you see in the distance. And in order to select a location, like I want to choose that cave over there, click your button in the middle of your thumb pad. It'll lock onto it and it'll track that location right there. From here you can also send this GPS coordinate over to your targets on your GPS navigation. It'll come up as TGP 0 because we set it with a targeting pod and not the map. To delete, highlight the one that you want to remove, And delete target. Do not delete group. You'll lose all your targets that you put in there. You can change the sensor from day to night on the left-hand side. That's pretty much it for your... Yeah, that's pretty much it for the multifunction displays. Moving on to the left side of the cockpit here. Launch bar is used when you're taking off a carrier, so it hooks your front landing gear into the catapult. Hook is to arrest your momentum with the arrestor cables on the carrier. Flaps and gear, very self-explanatory. Flaps, you're going to want like 1 notch on takeoff, 2 notches when you're landing. Flare, chaff, countermeasure systems, you use them by grabbing your throttle and then pressing your, usually it's a menu button on the top of your controller. Reaction system, this allows for pretty much automatic stabilization of your yaw, roll, pitch. You can see that down here, SAS. This is all your assistance, roll, yaw, pitch. G limits and auto trim. You want all these selected, especially if you're new to the game, as this stuff is pretty confusing. I'm going to step out real quick. We'll be back in like probably 15 minutes, and I will get up in the air and show you the rest of the stuff. See you in a bit. Alrighty, guess I'll be back sooner than I thought. Food was actually on time, and I do apologize for that quick intermission. Worked a 12-hour shift today, and I'm freaking starving. Alright. So, where were we? Alright, plane is all started up, ready to go. Just remember, battery on, APU. Wait for it to go into the green. Engine 1, wait for it to go in the green and settle at the bottom. Engine 2, turn on your MFDs, multifunction displays, using the knobs in the bottom left. Personally, I like to pull up my targeting pod and my map. Those are my two main instruments I pulled up, along with GPS. As far as flying, make sure you're in a comfortable position. I like to use my computer chair, which has an armrest on it. So this is where my armrest let my hands rest naturally, which is good for the joystick. Break it forward a little bit. You want to make sure that you're comfortable, because if you're in an awkward position, it's not going to work out too well. You can tend to crash a lot. Verify all your systems are good. Don't have any passengers, so. I'm trying to make sure we haven't forgotten nothing. So you'll see brake lock down there. If you're to try to move, it's just gonna not go anywhere. That might frustrate a lot of people just starting out. Your brake lock is right here on your right hand panel next to the doors. Turn that down and it'll go to that little warning will go away. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and call up air traffic control, request takeoff.
Taxi to runway 20.
Alright, for those of you that don't know how the numberings for runways work,
Runway 20.
runway 20 is a runway with a heading when you're on it of 200, 200 degrees. So just west of 180, which is south. You see our heading up there at the top, 20. Alright.
Alpha 1-1 tower, cleared for takeoff at runway 20.
Alright. So I got my engines tilted forward to 24 degrees. This is a short takeoff roll. So it doesn't take us very long to get off the ground with that. I think we'll do a traffic pattern real quick, so we're gonna go ahead and tilt your engines all the way forward. You do your engine tilt with your left thumb pads. You can see your indicators right up here, top left of your multifunction display.
Alpha 1-1 tower, cleared to land at runway 02.
Okay, so he cleared us in for runway 02, which is not procedure, but we'll go ahead and go for it. 02 would be runway, or heading 020, so northeast. North but northeast. So right now I got my throttle all the way down and I'm pressing the left trigger, and that is your air brake deploying.
Landing gear.
So now we're lowered our altitude enough, pulling the power. Wide notch of flaps. Oh, overshot. Go for the small one.
Landing gear.
So your little circle
Landing gear.
with the vertical and horizontal nubs on it. That is your vertical speed indicator.
Landing gear.
Pretty much wherever that is touching is where you're going to impact the ground. I'm going to hit those 1,000-footers there. Like that. Give it power. We're going to do a go around. Pull back gently. Gear up. Cause the rate of climb. Flaps up. We're running out of real estate, so we're going to go up this valley here. Mountain flying, you always want to stick near the edges of whatever valley you're flying up. That way it gives you the most room to maneuver. So we're going to do our turnaround right here. We're going to go back down this little valley. Come back out this way. Watch your vertical speed indicator. You want it right on the 0 mark on the ladder to maintain level flight. Whenever you want to do a maneuver at low altitude, take it above about 4 degrees, roll it over. There you go. Pretty much guaranteed not to crash every time. And it goes the same with buildings. If you keep your marker, grab my joystick wrong. If you keep that marker in between the buildings when you're doing your city flying, very little chance of you crashing. And demonstrate it real quick. You do have to keep in mind the size of your aircraft. We got a pretty big plane here, so pretty sure we can fly down this little avenue. Okay, take it up to 0, keep it right down the center of the road. Do a roll, tilt up, and roll it over. So, to transition into vertical flight, just keep your power about 50% here. You can see my power indication in the bottom left. Go ahead and put in 1 notch of flaps and search for your suitable landing site. Should be a hospital nearby. I remember seeing some helipads here before. Hey, right here. We got a hospital right there. We're gonna pretend that we got some wounded on board. Go ahead and put in your 2nd notch of flaps. Start letting down on the power as you pitch up. This is your braking, essentially. You're just trying to lose your airspeed.
Landing gear.
Now we're starting to descend. I'm going to start putting in the power.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Go ahead and put your landing gear down.
Landing gear.
We're just going to power idle now. Bring it back in.
Landing gear.
Damn.
Landing
Wow.
gear.
Helps if you till your engine's up. I was wondering what the hell was happening. It wasn't slowing down then. There we go. Now we're looking like a VTOL. Check your descent rate. We're descending pretty fast here. See my vertical indicator there is just right at the base of the building. You want to bring it up to the roof. Probably a little bit higher. Because you want to drop down vertically, you don't want to skim it.
Welcome back. Follow the taxi path to the parking area.
What? Not the prettiest landing. Well, we missed the pad a little bit, but we made it up on the roof. So pretty much you want to transition slowly into your vertical flight. Start tilting the engines a lot sooner than I did. Usually about the time you put in your 1 notch of flaps, you want to probably put in like 10 or 15 degrees of tilt. When you hit your 2 notches of flaps, go ahead and do like 45 to 50. Choose your landing site, make sure you have a good spot picked out, and then go ahead and switch it all the way to vertical, and just keep the nose up and trying to bleed off your horizontal airspeed. So we're gonna go ahead and take off now. It's at 1.2 thrust to weight ratio. If you don't have the afterburner on, you're losing altitude. Go gear up. So transition to
Landing gear.
horizontal flight, you just want to slowly let your tilt
gear.
out. Keep an eye on your vertical speed
Landing
indicator
gear.
there in the middle of that pip. And just remember,
Landing
if it's
gear.
level with that solid line, you're not ascending or descending. If you're below it, you're descending. See, if I go full forward, it drops a lot. You gotta pitch in order to compensate for that. Alright, we'll head over to the carrier, do some traps, and then we'll go and attack our pre-planned targets. So, these are carriers over here. These solid lines, I mean, that's the approach vector for that carrier. It's telling you that it's going that way. Alright, we'll do a normal trap on the carrier, and then we'll take off, do a vertical trap, and then we'll go bomb our targets. Then we'll switch over to the next airplane. Thinking about 180 is probably gonna be a good approach speed for
Landing
this.
gear.
Maybe 190.
Landing gear.
Make sure you have your hook
Landing
deployed.
gear. Landing gear.
Use your air brake whenever you feel like you're coming in too fast. There's 190. Let's see where that puts me on my. Seems about right. A little right of the deck. There you go. I don't know how well it's coming up on your guys' screen, but on the left-hand side you got PAPI lights, which tell you if you're high, low, or off center. It's telling me I'm left and a little low. I'm gonna keep my power in, and I'm gonna guide right. I'm way low. Alright, back on the path. Alright. High. Full power. And we have a trap. Alright, so whenever you land on a carrier, as soon as you touch the deck, you always go full power. Reason for that being is if you skip your wires or a cable breaks, you have adequate thrust applied that you're able to just continue flying off the end of the carrier and then go around for another pass or wait for the carrier crew to throw up their nets to catch you next time. So To release, just unhook your hook. Go ahead and taxi over here to one of these cats. These carriers are a little weird. These shuttles are way too far back for a carrier. It's about right there. Let's go catch. Yep. I'll drag you into position. And can't see it, but there's a blast shield going up behind your engines to make sure you don't blow wash all over your deck, potentially injuring crew members or damaging stuff. Alright, I think we're good. Launch bar's good. Go. And no notch flaps. Alright, so you can go full power, grab onto the handrail. Once you're off the deck, grab your controller, pull up, brake left, and just climb out from the flight pattern. Go ahead and hit up. Alright, so I set my waypoint over here to our map waypoint 8. Oops. Should probably pay attention to where I'm flying. So we're gonna start gaining some altitude, heading over that way. While I'm at it, I can go over this lovely feature right here. This is your autopilot system. So if you want to maintain heading 277, you're gonna press that button right there. It's not gonna let you drift left or right, it's just gonna keep you on this heading. You can control your pitch all you want. So you can ascend faster, descend faster, but it's going to keep you heading that direction. If you want to stay at, say, 7,400 feet, just climb up to 7,400, press Alt. There's our tanker. We'll come back and do some refueling here in a bit. So Alt is going to maintain your altitude at about 7,400 feet. Hover mode, you can use this to help maintain a hover while you're using your chain gun, or what other, if you're just sitting there trying to hover behind a mountain peak or something, trying to just observe the enemy. Nav is going to take you to whatever waypoint you have selected. Oh, we also gotta do Alt. Nav and Alt. There you go. Use those two in conjunction, it'll maintain your altitude, and then it'll nav you to the waypoint. Also just dive you into the ground. On your targeting pod, whatever waypoint you have selected, you can also do waypoint, and it'll focus on wherever your waypoint is. So we're going to go ahead and go weapons hot. So master arm is located right down here. Flip it up into the up position. In the top left, you can now see that we have a Canon Gimbal 230 selected with 1,200 rounds of ammunition. We want to change that to a GBU-39 GPS bomb. Just that one right there. And select our next waypoint. I can see our autopilot's going to keep us at this altitude. Take us over to that waypoint. Which is good for us, because what we can do now is go up a group. So we got map 0 right here. That is going to be our first target. So go ahead, kill the autopilot. Because I don't know if we got enough altitude yet. Doesn't look like we're there yet. So this ring, up at the top you see an arrow, and that's telling you that there's a target in that direction, which you can see it coming up. Should be getting closer. We should have plenty of... Ah, there it goes. Once it's within your ring, go ahead and just cycle through your targets and gently break away so you don't hit your own bomblets. Probably roll and see them flying in there.
Bingo fuel.
And go into vertical flight mode.
Bingo fuel.
So bingo fuel means we're almost out of gas here. Which thankfully there's our carrier. Hopefully we get to see our bombs impact here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So some of them hit buildings on the way in, but that's how that works. Alright. How much time do we got? Less than 2 minutes of fuel. So fuel port right here, want that open. Switch vertical flight. Horizontal flight. This is probably one of the hardest parts about this game is mid-air refueling. It's one of the most stressful, I know that. I have to perform it for an audience. Usually it's up here, it chills like 320 knots, I think. So we're gaining on it pretty quick here. 340 is a good closure rate. So now that you see I pulled my power back and we're just cruising, I got like 11 minutes of fuel left, so we got plenty of time. There's no pressure to get fuel. Right now I'm focusing on a couple indicators here. I fly my PIP, I make sure that I'm level, I'm at the right altitude I need. And I'm glimpsing up at the tanker to get orientation. We're in a gentle left-hand turn. And then I'm looking at those lights. The left ones tell you how high or low you are. You want it in the green like it is right now. And the ones on the right are going to tell you if you're too far back or too far forward. Ideally you have green and green. And then when you got that, it should tell you connected. There we go.
Contact. Refueling.
Oh, too far forward, so it's going to disconnect.
Disconnecting. Contact. Hold it right there.
Now I just need to calm down.
Hold it together now.
Alright, I think I'm too far forward and then come back a little bit. There we go. There we go. Right there.
Contact. We'll top it off.
It's hard to keep it right in that sweet spot.
Disconnecting. Try to stay within the margins.
He's gonna start getting mad at me.
Contact. Hold it right there.
Right now I'm just solely looking at those lights. It tell you all the information you need to know about where you are on that aircraft. Looking at the engines, just keeping them
Keep it up.
right on the outside of the HUD there. And he just gave us, we're cleared contacts, so come up to the back and then you just gently roll off the side. Usually your post contact's gonna be on the right hand side, not the left hand side, but that's for if you're refueling with other people. If you haven't fueled up yet, usually you form up on the left hand wing and whoever's fueling will be in the middle. And then once they're done, they move to the right hand side, and then the next person in the queue will go to the middle. Stupid rollover. See, now we're on the right hand side. Alright. Stop playing with him. I guess now we're going to switch aircraft. First we'll have a little bit of fun. Oh yeah. See one of my favorite spots coming up. Coming in at a bad angle. We might die. Oh, now we got this. Oh, nope, we're good. See, it's all about flying with that pip down there. As long as you got that clear of obstacles, usually you're going to be just fine. Just ignore the alarms. So what I did here, we're on our Canon gimbal here, put it over to head tracking HMD. So now, you sit here and precisely engage without being able to really even see your targets. It's accurate out to a good ways too. It's a lot of fun to play with the Canon like this. You can also lock it onto a rooftop like that. Just orbit, then you can use it. Move with your thumb pad. So that's it for that one. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Oh, what's that? FA-26B. There's a lot of hard points on this one. Alright. Fuel times. Yeah. Certain sensor, targeting 5. Just fuel tanks. Any new weapons I need to go over? If there is something you guys want me to go over specifically, let me know in the comments. I'll touch on it. Whether or not it's a weapon or sensor or something. Hope my controllers have enough juice. Like 50%. Alright, so cockpit's pretty simple. It's just about the same as the other one. Main battery on. APU on. Multifunction displays on. HMCS and HUD on. Engine 1 on. Making for green. Wait for it to drop. Engine 2. For green. Drop. APU off. Only difference is this one's got frickin' wings that you can fold up, fold down. So if you're taking off from a carrier, I know some of the carrier starts have them folded up. Make sure you don't try to fly with your wings folded. It's not going to end well for you. Alright, those are just my lights. I don't know. Nav lights, strobe lights, landing lights. Kinda nice to have. These should be your shoot indicators whenever you're firing radar-guided air-to-air missiles, medium to long range. They should start flashing, and then you'll get like a shoot prompt. Info, RWR. It's all the same stuff. Yeah, same instruments except for the radar. Radar is new. Turn on your radars here. Over that way. Increase the range so you can go out to 32 nautical miles. I like mine about 8 and 6. Change the scan angle. So, general flight, you want about 60. This is going to sweep a really broad area in front of you. If there's a like stealth aircraft or something you're trying to lock onto, and you know it's in a certain direction, you can narrow up your field here. Get like a 15, and you're almost guaranteed to pick them up. ARAD. I'm not even sure what ARAD is. Never heard of it. I think this is like your RWR. Where you set this up to the HUD and it'll tell you where your anti-air radars are being indicated from. Just kind of like a visual prompt. I know with like the FA-18 Hornet, there's a system kind of like that where you can pretty much take your RWR and it throws it up here. That way you can kind of home in on where radar is, and you can fire like AGM-88 harms to do some what the fuck is it called? Pardon my language. Seed. Suppression enemy air defenses. I don't know if that's the same for this or not. I've never used this system, so let me know down below if you know exactly what it's for. I am not an expert by any means. I haven't touched this game for over a year and a half. Probably have like 3 hours in each of these aircraft. Make sure all your flight systems are on. Cato trim, that's for catapult. It makes it so when you launch off a catapult, it pulls up slightly. Keep you from lawn darting into the ocean, which is always nice. Good feature. If you're doing suppression enemy air defenses, it is not a good idea to run with your radar on. Stay low, turn the radar off, and you should remain undetected for a good bit longer. Not for sure, but judging by the looks of this aircraft, it should be semi-stealth. Should have a pretty small radar cross-section. We don't have an objective. Alright, so there's really no new instruments to go over on this one. So I guess we'll just go nav. Nav and targeting pod. Oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't like the planes that have this throttle where it can't adjust it at all. Alright, brake lock off. So if you guys didn't know, on the bottom right hand side of your HUD, it has your control inputs. So you can see your rudder and then pitch and roll. It's kind of a good idea that if you're struggling on takeoff, just fly by that little indicator down there. Don't look at what you're really doing. Just stay on the runway, but here I'll kind of indicate what I'm talking about here. So for takeoff, you want to point right down the center runway. I usually go full brakes, full power, until it wants to give up. See how we're slowly sliding forward, let off the brake, and just keep your line right in the middle, and then move your dot so it's right in the middle, and just kind of maintain that coordination, and then slowly pull back on the stick. Then you gear up. Hey, what, this one's a lot funner to fly. You really get a sense of acceleration with this one. Yeah, just practice like trying to keep your stuff coordinated. Because I have a tendency to like twist my hand like this. And you can see it really jacks up my flying because I start rolling like that. This thing has really bad adverse yaw. So we're probably gonna die doing this. Oh yeah, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. Oh shit! Yep. Yeah, there's no surviving that one. Gotta watch the angles that you come into those. Alright, speed startup. Left engine failure. I'll get restarted in here. So we're gonna have a lot of left yaw because we're only operating off a right-hand engine. Yeah, see it there. Oh shit! What the fuck? Nah, that ain't supposed to happen. You should be able to fly with one engine. That bull. Oh, the joys of doing stuff live. You can embarrass yourself. That's what you can do. I kind of want to try this again and kill that left engine. There's no way it should have got that out of hand that quickly. Might keep it off the afterburner. Might have been what it was. Too much stress on one side. I might have to just pick up enough airspeed. That is weird, guys. You should be able to fly with one engine. That's ridiculous. Alright, well. We've experimented, we failed. Let's just go ahead and get up here and fly and do some stunts with this. I'm not even gonna turn on my multi-function displays, we're just flying. It's not like there's any enemies or nothing. We can do it without the HUD. I do want to see my fuel though. This is truly an amazing game. I mean, even with the cartoon-like graphics and the details of the interior of your model and whatnot, it feels incredibly real. Laying on the G's. Nice little star pattern. Let's get that pit back up there. Just because I don't want to have to restart this plane again. Going for the knife edge pass. Come on, fly through it, fly through it, fly through it. Going to a spin? Is he gonna let us? Aw. It'll freaking do a backflip when you kill an engine, but it won't let you go into a spin, huh? That's sad. Collision warning. Sure about that? Better roll before we hit the end. Oh no! Yeah, there's nothing new with this aircraft. Pretty fun to fly though. It's just gotta get used to the speed. Stuff goes wrong a lot quicker. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have been trying to fly the new F-45A here. F-35. It's one of my favorite planes at the moment, to be honest. What's our time at? Couple hours. Alright guys, we'll make this quick. Alright, so obviously some things are different about this aircraft. We also don't have flaps. Main batteries right here. APU is directly below it. Gauge is to the left of it. Engines up here. Brakes in there. To bring this up, it's just one knob. This thing's got a lot of thrust just sitting. It'll push you along, even idle. Alright, so now you have this whole plethora of screens. There's some interesting things you can do with this. So here's your sensor, pretty normal, but that's teeny tiny. You can expand it like this, but if you click here, you can also move it over to just the entire half of your screen. Take it back, you just click up, and it'll take you there. It also remembers what you've selected. So if I go comms, and menu, go to yes. Set all these tabs up. So now you can just quickly cycle through, which is an awesome feature. What's new though, it's right here, technical situation display. I'm familiar with this from DCS, from the 810 module. But with this, you can find and select pretty much anything. Here it tells you it's a KC-49, bearing 191, range 7 miles, altitude 12,000? Yeah, I think just 12,000. Mach 0.47, I think. I think that's what that should be Mach, but seems a little fast. And when its heading is 300 degrees. So it gives you a lot of information there. What's also shows up on here though is enemy radar systems. So if you get hit by an enemy radar on the ground, it'll show up to be like usually orange or red. You can go ahead and do sensor of interest. Use your hat key, move your cursor over to it, highlight it, click the middle button, and it'll do pretty much what I did to that. And it'll highlight it, and then it'll give you a description. And you can do EOTS, which will slew your camera over to it if you can see it, like that. Or you can do GPS send, which will put it over here in your GPS targets list. So you can, pretty much with this aircraft, you scare the enemy anti-air defenses by like cycle your weapons. I'll be quiet so you can actually hear it cycle. I don't have any weapons. Shit. Well, that was a demonstration fail. So when you cycle your weapons, your doors will open up. When your doors open up, your radar signature is no longer stealth. So they'll see that, and like pretty much every enemy radar system in the area is going to light up. And use that opportunity to go ahead and use your tactical situation display and go ahead and select all those radars, set them up over here, and you're pretty much showing your planned target list right here. Even if you don't have GPS guided weapons, at least you have a visual of exactly where that SAM site is. So it's pretty handy to use. Other than that, all the other systems are exactly the same. Fuel shows up here, shows your endurance, how much you got. I haven't figured out the autopilot, so if anyone figured that out, let me know. It's not important. It pretty much flies itself. It's a pretty fun jet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it up in the air. I think we'll go vertical. I'm gonna go with 85 degrees here. And full power. I'll rotate back. There we go. Slowly ease out the tilt until I transition to horizontal flight.
Landing gear.
There's our pip coming down.
Landing gear.
Oh, we gotta dump the rest out.
Landing gear.
Ew. Landing gear's up.
Landing.
This thing can just shut up. It's freaking out because we're in vertical mode without our landing gear down. Oh, sneaky. Oh no. Oh shit. Oh, no, we're good. Disregard my panicking. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, we just lost like everything. No. Oh. Huh. I died. Plane's fine though. Pretty well built. It's just gonna go do my bidding. Not even mad, kind of impressed. It's still going. Come back. Come back. Huh. Well then. That's a thing.
Landing gear.
Oh, shut up.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Don't need landing gear where we're going.
Landing gear.
This joystick seems like to be in a really awkward position for me. Controls are really jerky. Yeah. There we go. I can't find my plane just out there hovering. I think you guys know what's up. What the heck was that? think we'll go in for a vertical landing, and then I'm going to end this video here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Some of you know I absolutely hate the sound of my own voice, but if you guys don't think that the narration was too terrible, let me know, and I'll be sure to make some more videos. Feel free to add me on Steam if you ever want to play some games at Aviator225. It'll be the one with the picture of a Paladin howitzer for the profile pic. Alright, so vertical landings are a little bit different. You don't use the normal approach here. You're gonna come in along the side of the ship. Pretty much facing the same direction as the ship's heading, and you're gonna just go until you hit a until you match your speed. We were gonna full power. This is going well. What I'm aiming for is that elevator right there. I'll hop on skip, kind of missed it. I don't think you guys are too picky. Alrighty, here we go. Oh, that is a weird feeling. So weird. Oh, that killed us. That's lovely. Well, if you guys have any comments, concerns, improvements, suggestions, please let me know down below, and see you guys next time. Have a good one.